Welcome to another episode of the Inspirational Corner with me, your host, Stylisha Bowden, where we encourage you here to live bold, live loud, and live authentically without apology. Welcome to another episode, everyone. I am so glad you are here to listen in to another episode. And if you are new to this podcast, I encourage you to click that subscribe button so you won't miss any new episodes with the Inspirational Corner. And while you are here, I also encourage you to share this podcast. If you know somebody that likes to be inspired, uplifted, and empowered, share this podcast with them. I am excited that this is another podcast episode to share with you all. Episode 23. Still can't believe I've been doing this since January, started my podcast, and next year it will be a year, my year anniversary for the Inspirational Corner podcast. The Inspirational Corner is also the name of my blog as well, and I also encourage you to check that out. And since this is episode 23, I want to talk about 5 ways to help you in 2020 strong. And before I dive right into that, I just want you all to know I'm very appreciative for those that have subscribed to listen to the Inspirational Corner podcast. I truly appreciate you for doing so. And this will be my last podcast just for this year as I'm wrapping up 2020 podcast episodes due to the holiday season coming up and just me wanting to relax and reflect and refocus on some things and get everything in order and just enjoy my family for the holidays and enjoy life. I think there's a lot been going on, so slowing down is so important. But I will be pumping out new episodes in the upcoming year, 2021. So don't sleep on the Inspirational Corner because we're going to have new refreshing episodes for you. So let's jump into this episode, 5 ways to help you in 2020 on a strong note. Now, 2020 has been a lot of things for a lot of people. 2020 has been a very, I can say for some people, and for a lot of us, a very strenuous, emotional, political, social injustice, inequality type of year. And that's a little bit to sum it up. However, I truly believe it's important not to rush 2020 away just to jump into 2021. I still feel that 2020 has some lessons still in it. I feel like it still has some blessings and miracles. So I don't want to rush into 2021 without getting all that I need from 2020. And I believe because this has been such a defining year for all of us that 2020 is important to learn the lessons so we can process through everything so we won't go into the new year doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I think all these things that we are going through right now and what we are seeing going on right now is truly about our insanity circles that has been created through media, society as a whole in the last several decades. And we have consistently and constantly swept those things under the rug. And now it's like it's boiling over. 2020 has been a year where everything has came to a boiling point. And so now everything is more directly forced in our face because now it's time to get some things resolved so we won't go the next 10 or 20 years repeating the same episodes over and over again. So with that said, if we want a different result, we got to do something different. And I think 2020 was something totally different politically, with the pandemic and social injustice and equality and women's rights, Black Lives Matter. It's been a lot going on. So I just think that 2020 was a game changer in so many ways. It was like a wake-up call. And I don't think 2020 should be canceled yet because, like I said before, there's too many things for us to still learn and move through and towards a better year ahead. And although 2020 had detours and pit stops, I just believe all these things were highlights for our own personal growth and evolution, because with each journey, there's growth. We only have, 73 days left before the new year arrives. And I think that's enough time for us to take this time to reflect, reassess some things, reevaluate, and choose to say goodbye to 2020 on a greater note, a stronger note, and a high note. There were so many different challenges that we had to mix the bitter with the sweet and make it up in our mind that we no longer want to repeat the same habits, things that has been going on. We don't want to repeat another 2020 in the next 10 to 20 years. So I want to give you 5 ways that you can finish 2020 really strong. And I think 2020 has allowed us all to face what we was running from, whether it was spending more time with our family, cutting off certain relationships, letting careers or jobs go that no longer served a purpose for us, or things that we didn't enjoy, and just living the same life over and over and over again and being miserable. Because I'm a true believer in that. It's not meant for us to live the same life for 75 times over and over again. I truly believe we're supposed to be happy. And I believe that God created us to be human beings on this earth, to enjoy life, to grow, to evolve. But there's enjoyment and personal fulfillment in the things we do. I don't believe in us allowing society to tell us what is right and what we should be doing. I think it's important that we understand that too. So I just want to go over these 5 things, because I think these 5 things will be very essential to a better year. And I don't like rushing through things. I like to sit and figure out what part did I play, or how could I have made or did things better before I go to the next year anyway. And 2020 has had a lot of ups and downs. And a lot of people will say more downs than ups. And I believe that because this is a leap year, and I always believe leap years are once in a lifetime, meaning that because they only come every 4 years, it's like once in a lifetime chances. I believe 2020 has given a lot of us a lot of opportunities that we didn't expect, that we did not expect, that we didn't expect, but it kind of also put us on punishment, for us to be still and kind of deal with the issues that we hadn't dealt with, whether it was personal issues or societal issues. And so I believe these 5 things can set the tone to transition from 2020 to 2021. So let me start with the first thing, gratitude. I believe gratitude is so important. Gratitude is important because it helps you be grateful and thankful for the things that you already have. And we know that next month, Thanksgiving is coming up. But I just believe that every day, if we practice being thankful, we will see the abundance and the overflow in our life. So just finding that time to reflect and slow down and figure out and make a list even of all the things that you're grateful for in this year, because I believe it could have been a lot worse. Not only me, but I know different people have been affected by the coronavirus, that, some people did pass away. Even my family, was affected, people that I knew was affected, So, family members, were affected by this virus, and friends. So it affected us all in some way. People being affected, being laid off, or, their job shut down, it being a financial strain. But even in all the negative, there are some beautiful things that you can have gratitude and be grateful for. So I think gratitude sets the pace for an exceptional year. The second thing, what lessons did you learn? Lessons are here to teach us something, for us to not make the same mistake over and over again, and to be very intentional about changing those things that didn't work. So I feel like 2020 had plenty of lessons, but it's up to us to be intentional about going into the next year and tweaking those things, because when you learn how to be better, it challenges you to do better. So this is the best time to reassess the lessons learned, and then we can relish in the moment, kind of step back, live in the moment, and be strategic about how we want to move forward for doing better for the next year. And I think with all the things that I discussed about the political climate, the social injustice, equality, and, women's rights, being a black woman, seeing so many things and listening, hearing so many things, it's just getting a better understanding of each other as a whole, and each culture, each race, us getting a better understanding of each other. And first, it starts with us getting a better understanding of ourselves and knowing who we are, and not running away from trying to find out who we are. It first start with us. So I think that's important. The next thing is stillness. During the pandemic, we all have embraced this new ritual of being still. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because stillness teaches you a lot of things. You are able to sit with your emotions and feelings, and learn how to meditate and process through those things. So the best question that I believe that we all can ask ourselves is, in what ways has this stillness served me, and served my life, and served my loved ones? Being still, I believe, have served us in a lot of ways. And it will be up to us to continue this tradition of stillness, instead of getting back on that rat race or hamster wheel of the doing, being. In America, we have such a live to work culture versus the European lifestyle, a work to live culture. And I talk about that in my last episode 22. Please check it out, because there is such a difference in both of our cultures. In America, we're living to work, and that can be detrimental to us in a lot of ways, because we feel like we got to keep on producing. If we're not doing anything, we're lazy, if we're just sitting around, we're not going to be successful. But I beg to differ. I believe when you take the time to do less, you produce more. And the next one is carpe diem. Seize the day or seize the moment. I think every opportunity and moment that we have gotten in 2020, the different opportunities that we have gotten, has truly helped a lot of people. Like, some people, like I said, was faced with unemployment, and it really challenged them to say, you know what, I need to do something else. And actually, I need to do something I really love. And I think that was a great thing, because a lot of people made their side hustle their main thing. Or it has challenged some of us to really not take life for granted, to live in the moment, and to not allow fear to run our lives, or trying to please and be validated by others, but just actually walk out on faith and just do what we really desire to do, and to connect with our loved ones, and appreciate our loved ones and our our friends, while we are on this earth, not wasting time, and, not draining ourselves with so much negative energy. I think that's so important. So I'm truly in a place in my life when opportunities come up, seize that moment. You know, don't always say no or allow that fear to stop me from saying yes or just taking a leap. You know, I had a friend that told me, you never know what you like or what you don't like until you say yes to it. And once you find out, well, that's not the path I wanted to do, you can always switch directions. I think we allow fear to run our lives because we feel like we want to be so perfect, we don't want to make a mistake. But because we are in this human experience, we're going to make mistakes, and that's where the lesson come in. And I think we are so scared to say yes to life that we really want. We would rather self-sabotage ourselves and say no and not seize that moment instead of saying yes and just figuring out, you know, we don't have to figure it out, just flow. And however it turns out, but it doesn't matter because we can always switch directions, and then there will be a lesson learned and realize, oh, that's not the type of career I really wanted. Okay, it's okay. I have more clarity on what I really want to do. I think when you say yes to something, then you figure out that's not what you actually want to do or be connected with. You be in a relationship and that's not what you really desired, although you thought you wanted that or you really didn't know what you want. It really sets the tone of, it helps you create boundaries on what you do want. I think about all the different relationships I've been in with the different guys, and then I realized, oh, because I didn't know who I was and I didn't know my worth and I didn't know what I deserved, I just accepted that and felt like, oh, I got to do it before, you know, I got to jump in this relationship and be with him because he liked me and he's being nice to me or whatever the case was during that time. But now at this stage and age in my life, I know that I can take my time. I have time. I don't have to rush into something. I can see, okay, yeah, no, that's non-negotiable, whatever, or just enjoy. Life is about, to me, enjoyment. And so learning what my boundaries are and understanding what I like and don't like and what I will accept and won't accept, that has made me a better person because I'm willing to explore the options and explore this journey in my human experience. And I think we will not seize the moment because we are not willing to explore. And so we'll just jump at the first thing that we see. And so we'll get fascinated or stuck on that. And then down the line, we'll feel stuck, stagnant, or mediocre because we feel like we don't have the power of choice. And we have a right to choose any direction that we want to go. I just think the most powerful thing is being intentional and just moving forward. And the last thing is letting go. Sometimes we have to cut, and I mentioned that before, sometimes we have to cut a lot of things loose, whether it's people, places, jobs, things, or whatever, to realize what is really important in our lives. And so if you think about it, it's a lot of things you may had to let go, or a lot of things that probably let you go in this year, whether it was your job, whether it was family, friends, or even the loss of a loved one. You know, that's the hardest loss of letting go. But I just believe, even in all these dynamics that we have been presented with for 2020, 2020 has been a prominent and relevant year that I think we all needed to go through, so we won't take for granted the next year and the year after that comes and kind of try to replay. I think everybody can agree, if they don't agree on anything else as a whole, as every race, culture, gender, everything, I think we all can agree that 2020 has been a year that we all don't want to repeat again. But I'm grateful that 2020 was what it was, and 2020 was going to be exactly what it was going to be, whether we knew it or not, because it needed to shake us up in a way where we can finally get on the same page and agree that in some way, shape, or form, there needs to be harmony in the world. There needs to be more love and more connection and more diversity. And not only diversity, but understanding the diversity and how we all are created different for a reason. I think it would be a boring world if it's just one race or one ethnicity or one a one way mindset. Like, we have choices, and I think when we start to exercise our choice and let go of the societal demands of what we should and should not do, when we start understanding that we are all are individuals and we all have a right to say what we our truth and what is true to us, then it creates conversations. And I think in 2020, a lot of people have got slammed for different things that they believe or said, but it has created a conversation. And that conversation has become a loud sounding blast for us to pay attention to. So I believe that with gratitude, being thankful, reassessing the lessons and how the lessons changed your life and what you learned, and going into the new year and not repeating those things, but really being intentional about change, those things can help you. And that, like I said, about the stillness, being still, taking time out just to be still. Everybody's saying, oh, I want to get back to normal, but what was the normal? And do you want to even embrace that old normal? Because too many things have changed. And my hope is that we all have changed from March up until now, that we have all changed in the way that we don't want to go back to the same old life and the same person of who we were. I think we all have become, hopefully, been intentional to become a little bit more educated, whether it was with politics, whether it was with different cultures, races, whether it's with the economic system, the financial system, the environment, that we have all decided to become a little bit more educated on things and season these moments for better and greater opportunities to build each other up and letting go of things that don't serve us anymore. I truly wanted to do this podcast when this subject came up, 5 ways to end 2020 on a high note or a strong note. I just thought, hey, this is a perfect time to discuss this, because we are getting close to the new year, and everybody set their intentions or New Year's resolutions. I don't even think people do New Year's resolutions anymore, but I think some people still do, or they to do, or goal list, or whatever you want to call it, vision boards, vision journals. All those things to me mean nothing if we didn't learn anything in 2020. I just believe none of those things matter if we didn't, from March all the way up until now, we should have been kind of working on those things and changing those things internally. And I thought this was a great topic that I organically felt led to talk about. So I hope you all enjoyed this podcast episode, because I truly enjoyed it, sharing it with you and my thoughts and ideas on why 2020 may not be the best year, but it's not the worst year, and you can end your 2020 on a high note. And until then, until the next time, I want you all to have a fabulous week. And here at the Inspirational Corner, we always encourage you all to live bold, live loud, and live authentically without apology. I am encouraging you all to have a beautiful, great week ahead. Until the next episode, you all be blessed.